Happy Frigg's Day. Let's return to Middle-earth content. Hopefully this isn't going to be too long a video. However, it's been announced that Warner Brothers and New Line Cinema are going to be releasing more Tolkien movies. Obviously, Peter Jackson is imminently, I believe, releasing The War of the Rohirrim with some at least one actor returning to reprise a role as Eowyn, Miranda Otto, who I believe was probably going to be narrating this animated film, which I'm looking forward to. It's been in the pipeline for some time, and Rohan has an interesting history. It's a very rich, developed culture that I've got some natural interests in. I can't put aside now apprehension about future films and whether it will dilute what we've had on the basis of the Rings of Power. On the other hand, that Amazon made such a car crash of Tolkien's lore and legacy, I would hope that New Line and Warner Brothers will develop something and at least adhere to the basic premises of whatever they choose to do. I think in many ways there's a lot of Tolkien's timeline for Middle-earth that would be better served in a series, such as, say, the Silmarillion. It's because it encompasses quite a large time span. I've always felt that would be better as a series. However, again, the hatchet job, Rings of Power, done to the Second Age, I feel too much apprehension that rather than keeping the dignity of what is suggested in the timeline and the nature of elves and dwarves and men, that people putting their spin on, like, elves, they don't understand them, or they want to make them more in tune with humans or the audience, and that shouldn't be a thing. It's good to revisit the world. It will be good to have something more. However, I can't now treat any news of more Lord of the Rings, more Middle-earth, without a serious level of apprehension. I thought I was done ranting about the Rings of Power, to be honest, but it's just that sort of, it's tainted the media of Middle-earth in such a way that if we get more, it has to be more aligned with the source material. And I get that, Peter Jackson did change stuff. some of it was needlessly changed. I'm not okay with it. It's just for the overall full spectrum of the telling of The Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit in the trilogies. There were some deviations, but all in all, it was kept to its main course and delivered. I mean, they did a better job with Lord of the Rings than The Hobbit, to be fair. But still, it was more attuned to the source material than the Rings of Power can even claim. So I am apprehensive about more films, and they don't need to be remade either. We think about it. The Lord of the Rings trilogy is now 20 years old. You can consider remaking it, but I don't think you need to. They are outstanding movies, even if they changed some of the core content. For example, I prefer, with Aragorn being one of my main favourite characters, well, my favourite character, that seemed needless to change his reluctance to be king when he's strived his whole life to achieve this goal. To change it because it made it was more cinematically thrilling was like, well, I could go along with it. I mean, don't get me wrong. In Return of the King, when Elrond gives Aragorn Anduril, it makes the hairs on my arms stick up. Even now, I can listen to the music of that scene. It makes my hairs stand up. But that doesn't happen in the book. So it's good cinema. I would just prefer, really, to have had the Aragorn sets out to be king because he wants to marry Arwen. They're in love, amongst other things, and have the moments, capture the moments like Aragorn dragging the Grey Company through the mountains of the dead, and he summons the dead, and even Legolas is sort of close to breaking it, and everyone in the Grey Company stays true because of Aragorn's will, his might at assuming, or coming in to assume, to prove what a great king he is and he will be when he assumes the throne. Aragorn has some great untold stories, and that perhaps would be something to explore. They explored it in a game, I think. His time with the people of Rohan, his time in Gondor, so that why Denethor despises Aragorn, like we see in Return of the King. There is a reason for that, to have something that explores sort of the level of respect and adulation that Aragorn did or achieved in disguise when Denethor was a very small child, would go on to set these scenes. It's just, you don't want to do some of the things that I think Star Wars is now guilty of sort of muddying lore for the sake of just sort of creating some distorted versions of things that can casually, if you don't think about it too hard, fit into what we've scene be established over 40 years, but it does make it grow thin. I'm rambling. At the end of the day, more Middle Earth on a surface level, yes. I can't be too infused without a fear of apprehension, in part by the mess Amazon made of the Rings of Power. So we'll just have to wait and see. It needs to be art and not common cheap frills butchery. Thank you for listening to my rant. Do take care. I'll see you soon. Goodbye.